have everything under control.
Are you sure?
So denial is when someone's not able to fully accept that this even happened. They've created their own reality. And I think that in WandaVision, that pretty much is what this entire show is about. So not only has she created a false reality, but she also did it in this pristine, perfect sitcom, you know, the Dick Van Dyke Show. And so she sits on the couch with Vision, and they've already gone through the marriage scene, but they didn't have any rings. And so she puts rings upon their fingers.
Yes, I do.
And they lived happily ever after.
If you had the power to be able to do this, wouldn't you? I would. Just to have one moment, 1 hour, 1 second.
And it was all
For the children.
Or Wanda.
What?
She's going through this want to have had children with Vision and what that would be like. Not to say that he's a machine, he's part biological, but he's mostly a machine, so I don't even know how this would have worked, but it's still the want and hope that had been taken from her. And so they go through this beautiful moment of, or poignantly sad moment of, her not getting to experience being able to have kids with him and what he would be like as a dad and what she would be like as a mom.
Vision? Is this really happening?
But it's not. So now we start to see the cracks. And so we're getting the beginning pieces of anger. And anger is when we become frustrated and upset at how this could happen, and her want to stay in denial where that is more peaceful and more relaxing.
No. Vision.
So something happened that she didn't want. She saw a crack inside of her reality and she was able to just rewind it. And now we get to see what occurs when someone with godlike powers ends up being forced to the next stage where they really want to stay in the reality that they've created. So she's given birth, she got to experience motherhood, had 2 beautiful, healthy babies, got to see her husband with holding these children, and she got to hold them herself.
Can you believe it? Twins! I'm a twin. I had a brother. His name was Pietro.
So here we go. The first piece that has been completely brought to her attention, that things are not as they seem. Now Wanda is remembering pieces for herself. Her denial was so great that she believed it, which can happen to us. We can actually create worlds that are so believable that our brains choose to stay there because it's so painful to live back in reality for us. It's a way that our brain deals with trauma.
You're not my neighbor. And you're definitely not my friend. You. And I want you to leave.
It's so painful, and I think that a lot of people that have gone through really serious loss have had moments where someone's trying to pull you out of it, trying to help you out, and you know, you feel like you're alone and you feel like no one else can understand you. Having someone trying to poke holes in her perfect painting that she's made, and so she's gonna fix it and get rid of anyone that is trying to trespass upon her perfect fantasy world.
No joy.
Is this yours? This will be your only warning. Stay out of my home. You don't bother me. I won't bother you.
I love that only when she's angry does her accent come back. This is specific bargaining to, you know, in this case, Sword. Stay off of my fantasy world. And if you don't, I'm gonna show you what I really can do. And then Wanda does exactly that.
I have what I want. And no one will ever take it from me again.
Stand down!
I love that scene. Mess with me, and I'm messing with you.
I spoke with Norm.
Oh?
I unearthed the man's suppressed personality and I spoke to him free of your oversight. What you're doing here, it's wrong. It is wrong.
So now she's also coming to terms with the damage that she has done. We're moving from bargaining into a piece of acceptance, or at least understanding. It's now really hard for her to be able to go back to denial.
He was in pain, Wanda.
Vision. Listen, can we
What? Watch TV. Turn in for the night so that you can change everything over again. No, Wanda. You can't control me the way you do them.
Can't I?
I love that. I love that scene. I love that they put it in and then you get the music of like, because it's such a creepy, horrible, controlling, manipulative, scary thought. Right now, she wants to go back to denial so badly that even the man that she has done this entire situation for, she doesn't care.
This, all of this, is for us.
So here they're having a real fight. The credits ran and then it got ripped from them. So this is showing that this is torn from her sitcom reality and now we're having a real fight between two people and this is beyond her scope and her control.
You are my husband. You're Tommy and Billy's father. Isn't that enough?
Wanda, why are there no other children in Westview?
There are, just stop it.
And so she's bargaining, saying, please stay, this is gonna be okay. Don't ruin this. This is beautiful and peaceful and I wanna be here. And he's saying, but this isn't real and people are in pain. And I don't know if I can live in your reality.
Mom, are you coming down soon?
So our boys are playing video games, which is what we do when we need some time to ourselves. Let the kids just play.
My reckless evening, I plan on taking a quarantine-style staycation. A whole day, just to myself.
So this also seems a little bit therapy. She's on a big comfy chair, speaking directly to the camera, which is us, and kind of going through what's happening inside of her head. She's wearing some snuggly clothing. Her hair still looks pretty good. I'll just say it. Her hair looks pretty good, but it's a little bit unkempt in comparison to her usual beautiful coif. And there she is. She's laying in bed. She's still wearing the clothing from the night before, so she didn't even take that time to be able to change. And when we're talking about dealing with depression, often one of the first parameters we look at is, are they taking care of themselves? Are they eating? Are they cleaning? Are they looking well kept? How is their house going? Are they able to manage the usual day-to-day things of life? And you can already see that she's not doing that well.
I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm fine.
Which often we say that we're fine even though when we're not fine, and she doesn't look that fine. And usually if someone's fine, they don't have to say that they're fine that many times to convince someone else that they're fine.
I don't understand what's happening. Why it's all falling apart and why I can't fix it.
Do you think maybe this is what you deserve?
What? You're not supposed to talk.
This is her negative self-talk, which often happens when you're dealing with depression, that those negative thoughts kind of come back like waves and confront you. Those worries, the worry thoughts, the critical voice. She should watch my video on negative thinking.
So much trauma. And yet, you were safe as kittens the whole time.
We get to see her go through a little bit of, I would call it like exposure therapy. She's not doing it to actually help Wanda feel better, but it's not a horribly ineffective method of going back through Wanda's world and her life and her childhood to be able to see, why did she do this?
So what I see here is a baby witch, obsessed with sitcoms and years of therapy ahead of her.
I would do it a little differently, where we would be going through what are the painful memories and, her feelings of loss, and why was this one loss so difficult that she had to create a new world to be able to, like, she's lost so many people in her life.
Doesn't explain your recent hijinks. Where'd you get the big guns, Wanda?
I don't want to go back there.
I know you don't. But it's good medicine, Angel. The only way forward is back.
So Wanda specifically says, I don't want to go back there. And I think that that's a lot of people's fear and difficulty with going through therapy, is that you may go to situations in your past that you don't really want to relive, which usually you might not have to, depending. But for trauma that keeps on reoccurring, then this is something that is unresolved, and it's almost like dealing with a wound that's festering. And so it's painful to go through those healthy sets of tissue to be able to go back and heal that.
Ah, Wanda, the rebellious years.
We go back in a way that is safe and slowly. It would not be as visceral. So the way that Agatha's doing it, she's actually you're reliving the situation. This would be in a way that you feel safe in little tiny bits and pieces. And I often do it in stages. So don't actually think she's going to be any better from this therapy, but she might understand a little bit more about herself.
I've never experienced loss because I've never had a loved one to lose. But what is grief, if not love?
Acceptance. Whew. This is her reliving and coming to terms with loss. Even though she's lost him, there's a piece of beauty in that she got to love him enough to lose him. And it's from his own words. I love this scene because I think the power of it, and I think that everyone that's dealt with loss has felt that overwhelming grieving where it just explodes out from you and you see this world being created from her pain in order to protect her from it. So much so that she doesn't even know that she created it, because she wouldn't be able to handle that. I'm going to try not to be emotional with this, but here we have her getting to go through all those moments that she lived with him and all the happiness that she had. And in the end, that's what it is, right? Like, that's acceptance, is that we get to keep these memories. They're not the same, but they're beautiful. And in that, everyone really does live within us. And I think that that is her moment of true acceptance, when she was able to see it for its beauty.
Your pain. Your grief is poisoning us.
No, stop.
Please, let us go.
So in this moment, she gets to feel the pain and see the cost that everyone else has had to suffer from her fantasy world.
Boys, thanks for choosing me be your mom.
So she's saying goodbye to her kids. And she knows that it's going to be forever. And I don't know if I had this power, I don't think I'd be able to do this. Maybe if knowing that, I don't know, another 150 people or 3,000 people, I think it was, are suffering because of it. Maybe. I don't know. But family is forever.
What am I?
You are my sadness. And my hope. But mostly you're my love.
So her saying that acceptance of how that he's a part of her and she made him out of love, but also sadness and pain of what she had to give up. And that now she has to give him up for a third time, and this time by her choice, because it's the right thing to do. That final piece of acceptance that she had to go through. So let's kind of wrap it all up. I think the show did an amazing job with dealing with denial, anger, bargaining, and acceptance. But where it gets a failing grade is the way that it dealt with depression. I think that they glossed over it. I think that they did not show the depths that you could reach when you're going through such traumatic loss. You know, I think they could have added more to it. I think that the commercial talking about depression was actually more poignant and more heartfelt than the episode that dealt with it.
We don't have to stay here. We could go wherever we want.
No, we can't.
If you're dealing with depression yourself, please check out my What is Depression? There is help out there, so please go seek out help for you or a loved one that needs it. I'm Georgia. You can subscribe and see you for the next one.